AI for the rest of us. That's how CEO Fallon Fatimi describes her company Node, which just received another $16 million in funding from the likes of Will Smith and Mark Cuban. I spoke with Fallon and Cuban last night about Node and what separates it from its competitors, particularly the big tech players.
So all the tools that these big companies are putting out there are really for a data scientist. They're all these Lego blocks to help, piece together a solution. Every organization in the enterprise will still need to figure out how to acquire data, clean data, normalize it, set up data architecture, and then figure out how to actually build models that drive the business outcomes they care about and figure out how to scale it in a personalized way for their end customers.
Now, aside from Node, I also got Cuban's take on everything from Facebook's Libra, which we just chatted about, to the election, to the tech lash out of D.C. He spoke to me at length about antitrust and why breaking up these companies could only make them stronger.
I don't see it as an antitrust problem at all. No one has to use Facebook. There's alternatives for search. Just because they've been able to develop a big customer base doesn't mean it's antitrust. And so, no, I don't think it's an issue. I do think Facebook has got a lot of issues in terms of privacy and use of data, but we always have to remember the law of unintended consequences. I mean, people talk about Facebook not wanting to make data available to others. To me, it's scarier if Facebook or Google or others keep all the data to themselves, because that gives them a significant advantage. So we have to be very careful in how we approach these issues.
So should that be regulated then? Because you said that there's alternatives to Facebook, but the most popular alternatives are Instagram and WeChat. I mean, Snap, yes, but the numbers aren't there.
I mean, look, Facebook usage in the United States is declining. The average age of a Facebook user in the United States is increasing. Yes, they have Instagram, but Instagram is a completely different type of tool. It's not a news source. There's so many different alternative sources of news. Apple's making a bigger push there. There's third-party news sources. I don't see that as a risk factor at all. I think, people don't really understand where things are going. I mean, Node, to get back to Node, people don't understand artificial intelligence and its impact. People are afraid what the future impacts are going to be, and so they just take it out on, well, let's just break up these big FANG companies. That's not what's going to solve it. And again, when you break these companies up, you actually give them more power, because there's nobody else out there that's small that's going to step in to their place. You'll just have a few more companies doing more of the same thing, but only having the protections of the antitrust regulations.
Right, and I want to move on from this in just a moment. Then Mark, and what I'm hearing is they do or they don't need to be regulated, and who does that?
Who does it is a big question, but in terms of regulation, I think we have to really, really be careful. The law of unintended consequences will smack us upside the head in ways we don't expect. You try to stop Facebook from selling data, or you try to put valuations on data, which I don't even know what that accomplishes. Now, all of a sudden, they're forced to keep the data to themselves. And having Facebook with all their own data and not sharing it, having Google with all their own data and not sharing it, having Microsoft, et cetera, with all their own data and not sharing it, that's scary, because that gives them an incredible competitive advantage. And even if you broke Facebook into multiple companies, Facebook, Instagram, Oculus, each of those entities is so big, they would still have such a significant data advantage and also protections, because now they just followed whatever was prescriptive to them. You're not going to solve any problems. You're just going to create more problems. I'm still more laissez-faire, where beyond privacy is a separate issue, but beyond privacy, we need to just encourage development. We need to encourage innovation like Node.ai, because that's how we're going to compete. The concept to me that Facebook is the end-all, be-all product for news sources or saving pictures or sharing with grandma is crazy. Same with Instagram. They'll be preempted at some point. It's inevitable.